Good evening. This is the Elliott wave update for the NASDAQ 100 for Wednesday, October the 20th, 2021. The NASDAQ continued to rally during Globex sessions and then did pick up that rally initially at the opening of the US session, reaching a high at 15,446.50 and then began to sell off. Now, what this tells me within this sequence right here, just to kind of do a quick review, we remain in the process of tracing out a larger B wave, intermediate degree B wave. Within that intermediate degree B wave, we have A of B complete, B of B complete, and now we're in a 5-wave structure up to complete minor wave C of intermediate wave B. We've already discussed that the potential for this larger intermediate B wave would be to go up to new highs. And that certainly fits the picture on the push that the buyers are making to get back into these markets based on what they feel the earnings reports are going to tell them. So with that in mind, I've now set out to figure out, well, what is all of this telling us on today's activity? So I first went down to the hourly chart and I took another look at it. And I thought, okay, well, I can have this third wave, and then I got a little bit crunchy and I took it down all the way to the 15 minutes so I could see more of the details on the inside of this whole thing. So now I'm going to come back down to here and say 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of 3, 4, 5 of 3, 4, 5. Now, what does that then complete is my big question. Does this just complete a larger, minute wave 1 of C, of wave 5, excuse me. So let me take this back out at least to the hourly so I can get my correction. So we're in a minute 5th wave. It would be gigantic to consider this sub-minute wave 1 of minute 5. That would put that 5th wave to be very, very large if we're considering that the first wave is basically 400 points. What is that going to tell us about the third wave? What is that going to tell us about the balance of this move? So I'm not going to put any labeling on it right now, because the only other choices that I have coming into all this is that this is the completion of a third wave. But then again, even doing that puts that third wave, the length of that third wave would be approximately, and I'm just going to get my calculator, 436 minus 14,660, 776 points. That fits a little bit easier in my mind to what possibly is going on. And it does set the stage because we're getting a little bit larger of a pullback. So just for the sake of what we're discussing right now, it is going to change our upward trajectory. So, but I want to leave this open that I have the possibility that this will move up to here, and this will be the 4, and then I reset that. So I'm going to take that off for right now, which makes that resistance level superfluous. It won't exist anymore. So let me get over here to this, remove that drawing, move this 3 up to here, and then just take a peek. We're going to move this one just over to here somewhere. It's not done yet, but we're just going to leave it there. Now, if this is the case, what kind of wave 4 would we be looking for? And I'll tell you right now, I would think that this fourth wave, if that's indeed what it is, that has potential to come back to 15,145, 382. But because of what we still have left to do in the market, I would assume or believe that this fourth wave is just going to be flat. So it's going to be like an A, a B, a C, a D, an E, and then thrust out of the triangle. That's normally what can happen after such an intense rally for doing a small corrective phase in between, that it's not going to get very deep because there's still too much expectations for the move to continue higher. We've only got really Netflix and Tesla out of that big group of the big tech names. We still need to hear from Adobe. We still need to hear from Lululemon. These are stocks that are basically, really, Adobe trades above $600. Lululemon of all stocks trades above 400. We still have Moderna. We still have Microsoft. We still have a lot, NVIDIA, Roku. We've got a lot of earnings still to come out. I do believe that that's the case. Yeah, Roku doesn't report until the beginning of November. So we still got a lot of earnings to come out yet that could really affect the market. So that's why I'm going to do it the way that I'm doing it. It does produce a gigantic third wave. And if I go back, maybe I just need to move everything up. So if I take it back out here, no, this actually looks like the 1 and the 2 for me, because this was it wasn't very bullish at first. And so it could have been a 1 and a 2. And then I'm just going to have to leave it like here for right now. A couple of things. I usually let the market tell me, but this keeps intact what we continue to look for on that outside. And so that, I believe, is what's going to be more important. So I'm going to leave these retracements up here, but I'm really we got down today to the 50 MA, went through it, but held on very high level, right? Support at 15,314. Now, if this does work out to be 3 and then 3 and then 3 and then 3, more of a wedge pattern, we don't know yet, then it likely is going to stick within this range. Maybe come a little bit below it, but not so much above it, because I believe the resolution out of this will be a thrust higher. And that fits everything that we're waiting for. We've not gotten anything that literally has blown the doors off of any of the earnings reports yet. And with Tesla, we're still waiting to get the press conference. Elon Musk comes and he talks his talk. So in between, Tesla has just kind of bounced down to 850, bounced up to 871. So it's just kind of sitting in between. They're going to probably hug very close to this closing price before they get additional information. Now, what can we expect? Possibly tomorrow is just going to be an inside day and we're just going to wedge. While we continue to wait. I don't have any, there are earnings reports tomorrow, but out of our bigger players that have a higher weighting in this NASDAQ, we don't get anything until Monday. We have Facebook, we have AMD next week, which is not a part of the NASDAQ, but it does because it's a chip maker, does have influence on a lot of the stocks. So we have AMD on the 26th, we have Microsoft on the 26th, Amazon and Apple on the 28th. We have Intel comes in there. And again, first week of November. So we still have a lot waiting. We have a lot out there waiting. Square has a market. That's the 4th of November. So we're going to have to wait. And that's what I think the market is not going to begin to really move off of these levels until much more information via earnings comes out. So right now, afraid we might just have an inside day tomorrow, inside to upward. We might just continue and start on that fifth wave up, in which case the 4 would get moved up to here. And then we start heading out and we break above today's highs and we start moving. Now, let me go back out to that 4 hour and let's take a review on some of the Fibonacci relationships that we can build into this thing. First of all, we do have these retracements that now pretty much show us our next stop would be the all-time high. I want you to stop doing that, computer. Thank you. And we'll do it as soon as I touch it. Now, what do we have above that? We have the other two. We have the 1.236 and 1.382 at 16,024 and 16,219. I can add more to that. And this is going to be an absolute guesstimate, okay? Because that would be saying that this low that we did today did complete this small fourth wave. All right. So, you know, it basically was over 100 bucks. So it's a nice slide. And let's just take a peek. So what we're going to do is going to go back now. And first of all, let me take these off. So we have 15,260. That would be kind of a bottom side target that the market could reach. And now I'm going to put these in. And this is going to be a little bit tough. Why did it do that? Dang it. Come on, computer. Pick it up. That's the one I want. Thank you. So there to that high to this low. And what do we get? You can see we get nice little grouping right here. The high, the all-time high, 15,708-ish, we get overlap. That would be something. Where the B wave went up and equaled it? Yeah, it could. Otherwise, we have everything above. 618, so wave 5 would be 618 times the length of wave 3, and that's at 15,800. Then we have 869, 15,932, 624 is that first one. 16,100 is where wave 5, again, that would be saying if this low we had this morning is the completion point for wave 4. So please understand, this is not cast in stone. This is not even really much because we're basing it on that not being exceeded. And it may be. So, but these start to give us an indication if I have to move this third wave all the way up, what's it do to our upside? Not a whole great deal. We still have these moves above 16,000 and we have them coming up into these levels. Again, I don't suspect that we'll get up there because I've not really run where I have an irregular B wave that goes 1.618 times the length of the A wave. So I wouldn't be expecting that. And, but I would expect and not be surprised if we got up into here. This is a little high, but this and this and this are zones that could complete. So and that is based on, again, I'm sure that this fourth wave will change and then we'll be able to really define it by we can put it in. But these are just a guesstimate if we were to take that point as the completion point. What is our upside risk? And it really has not increased that much. We still have all of our same levels that we look for on this upside move. We still have, you know, 15,501, no, it could, but I doubt it. 615, sure, but I think that we at least get up and equal, if not exceed, that existing all-time high of 15,709. So I'd be looking again into this zone. So that zone hasn't really changed all that much over what we were looking at. So here we are. And then again, the 16,000, then we get up into those irregular B level. So for tomorrow, it may be a quiet inside day while we wait for additional earnings reports. What we could be looking for, if it's going to wedge, it's just going to sit in a channel and just do that all day. Boom, 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 boom. And that would not surprise me. I'm not going to make it the easiest one to trade, but it would not surprise me. And then if it decides that it's going to go from here, and this is a B wave, and then we get a C wave down, then we have those other ones, and we know that it can get down close to this level. So we have the 50, and then we have 316, which it's already touched, basically. If we can get below that, then we probably have, right, yeah, that is price support at 260. And then we have it down here at 15,200 in that neighborhood. I would not suspect that we're going to get too much lower than that. Remember, it's a fourth wave. And the fourth wave of one lesser degree, I would say, comes in right there. And that would kind of put us, again, close to the 50. Excuse me, close to the 200. And again, for fourth wave, I would not be looking for it to come down here. So remember, the outside of this count would be that 3 gets placed back there. This ends up being, and this is the 4, this ends up being the 5 and completes that B wave and sets the stage for a much more serious decline. I don't necessarily see that right now, but I have to present it because it may become a reality. The market will let us know. And this is where I'm going to leave it for right now. Continue to use your moving averages no matter what the market does. We can play it by using our moving averages, by using support and resistance that we have, and reading the price action. When we start to break, this is the hourly, we start to break that 50 again, and we start breaking down through this support, and we're heading towards this, it's not going to be a pretty picture. One thing I will add, when we come up and we take a look at the daily picture, the daily chart continues. See, this is the first one we've gotten in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 sessions of straight up moves. This is the first red bar we've received. This puts this market, and by the way, this is looking very clean, A, B, C, but I'm leaving it here that we still got one more to go because I really believe that's going to be the case. But the daily did show signs today that it was ready to pull back, and it would be a bigger pullback than what we've seen. But we initially got it. We initially got it with it dropped over 100 points initially, and then rallied strongly to get it all back. So whether that was enough, that's why I ran this Fibonacci, because I just don't know. A one-day correction, sure, totally possible. Within the strength of what we've seen in the market, totally possible. And in fact, the NASDAQ was the only one really down today. The other 3 were up. They were up on the day, and the Dow and the S&P never really got close. It's going negative. They stayed positive throughout the entire day. So the NASDAQ did it on its own, and maybe that was what it needed, and this is the 3, and this is going to be a 4, and now we're going to race up and do the 5th. So if that's the case, then maybe we don't have an inside day, and we just pick up the rally again. In which case, we'll be looking for it, and we'll be ready. If we start to move higher, then we start to break above. Again, the moving averages are all going to fall into alignment, and we'll know when we start to break higher and we start breaking above 15,446. Then we've got our next resistance levels already lined up. This I find very, very interesting if this indeed is the count, and this is the retracement or the extensions on the way up. We have not had any where they matched up against the all-time high. Now we've got one. And might be a point where it stops and pauses. In fact, I would expect it to do that there anyway, or just go right on through and start heading up into this area. This is a pretty high candidate too, simply because of of the level, and that it's a 70.5% retracement, or of it's an extension of wave 5 to wave 3. And that can be very sensitive in terms it can turn the market lower, or sensitive in terms it breaks and just keeps going. And then we get up into those other levels. So again, we're not really in danger of, I think, falling and falling and falling, because I don't think we've reached the levels that the market's going to get to. So I'm still having faith in the upside right now. And that's what I'm going to look for tomorrow. If it's inside day, I'll live and I'll trade it. But if it starts and it can break above this current high at 15,446, then I'm going to be more confident that that did complete the little correction that we were looking for, and that we're now off to the races again. Okay, that's it for today. Don't want to drag this on too long. Our next update will be Thursday, the 21st.